Can you talk about the moment you realized you had to tell this story?
Well, it was interesting because like we grew up knowing that Bibi and Boba, like grandma and granddad, had these lives, but there wasn't much spoken about it because they were so programmed to be secret, and to not talk about it. And I just sort of thought that's what everyone's Jewish grandparents had this history. And then it was only relatively recently when um I wasn't very well, and I just sort of didn't know if I was going to live or die, and I had a doctor um come into a room and tell me if I was going to live or die. And my grandmother kind of came to me, and she'd been dead for many years, but sort of her spirit, if you like, was in the room. And she stood very still just behind me. And I was surprised. I found out I was going to live, and I had about a year kind of recovering. And I stared at one piece of wall with like a chipped wallpaper and a plug socket. And I just thought about her because I was surprised I'd thought about her because we never lived in the same country. We didn't spend that much time together. We barely spoke the same language, but she was the sort of presence in my time of crisis. And as I stared at the wall, I thought about her and what she went through, what my ancestors went through. And when I recovered, I had this sense of, as most people do, if they kind of look mortality in the eye, I just had this sort of sense that this could die, this history, if it isn't preserved and if it isn't told. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to bring the story to the world. And luckily, Reboot, the studios, and Noam and Adriana and Greg, our producers, just help bring it to life.